You're writing for Tuesday, Savi. What are you going to write about Tuesday about this airline chaos?
Thanks for having me. What I would say is, from a cancellation rate, operationally airlines are having a harder time, but they have proactively taken down schedules. So what we've been writing has been consistent, I think, for the last several weeks, and it will be consistent on Tuesday, which is that operationally, airlines would love to fly more. There's definitely more demand than there are flights today. Even with maybe some consumers choosing to drive, there's just still too much demand for the amount of supply airlines can put out there. But they have taken it back because they want to maintain decent operations. And if you look at cancellation rates, we're probably trending only 1 percentage point higher than it was pre-pandemic. So they're doing enough ahead of time to try and offset some of the pain that comes with the current operational environment.
Savi, you're speaking to something that I don't think gets talked about enough: the difficulty of ramping up capacity in this industry, even if you want to. The amount of regulation that requires a certain amount of trading, how long it takes to onboard people, to get them to operate in the airports. Can you run through that for us, Savi, just how difficult it is to build out capacity and build out an employee as a force, a labor force for some of these companies? It's just tremendously difficult, isn't it?
It is. And last year you saw, across the ecosystem, airlines having problems, not just airlines, their partners and airports as well. I think this year, a lot of that is under control. They've learned lessons. They've hired ahead of time. But the biggest bottleneck is on the pilot side. We've had a lot of pilot retirements during the pandemic when you didn't know if demand was going to come back. And now that demand has come back really strong, you're trying to hire and put pilots in the cockpit as quickly as possible, but it is a longer time horizon. And so that is like the key bottleneck here. It's not necessarily pilot supply yet, though that is a concern longer term. But right now it is about class sizes that are 3 to 4 times bigger than they used to be pre-pandemic, and trying to get those pilots through and into the cockpit in time to fly the capacity.
Savi, I've got 30 seconds on the clock. Clearly, they are reluctant to build out capacity, not just unable to build out capacity. There is a worry now about whether this so-called revenge spend on travel persists through the rest of this year. What's baked into your numbers on that one?
Yeah, we're assuming a slowdown, but the key here is because capacity is so much below demand, even if demand comes down, maybe that just gives you some relief there. So yields might be lower, fares might come down, but generally we think it's still a strong environment for airlines, even with some pullback here in demand into the fall and maybe into next year.